Welcome back everyone to part 2 of my Tokyo Revengers analysis. Since this is my first official series on this channel, I wanted to share some of my thoughts at the beginning of each video so you guys can understand my headspace when progressing through this story. So, having finished the Tomen arc, I can comfortably say it's a strong introduction. Setup and character interplay felt really organic and made everything feel like steps were taken to establish a proper jumping off point. The small moments with Takemichi and his friends were especially refreshing and pretty realistic when I think of how middle schoolers would interact. They really stand out since you have 30-year-old middle schoolers and a kid who weighs $120 soaking wet able to obliterate damn near fully grown adults. Though all of it plays into the world's charm and gives it a bit of its own identity. More so than its charm, I enjoy its messaging and characters, which I'll get into some more today with all of you. Let's start part 2 of this analysis. This is Tokyo Revengers' second story arc, Moebius. A struggle to live in spite of death. Starting from where we left off, Takemichi and Naoto meet up with Moebius' old leader, Osanai, in order to gather information about Draken's death. After getting what they could, Takemichi returns to the past and has a sweet moment with Akun. Already, Takemichi takes on an active role in trying to both keep his friend from the gang life and save Draken. Once again, in trying to make his presence known within the story, he becomes quite brash, acting without a plan to do this through more subtle means. Interestingly, his forward approach does not earn him a reward, but a wake-up call through a pretty bad beating. Takemichi is overstepping his boundaries, overconfident and ignorant as to where he stands in Tomen. Just when everything seems lost, Draken wants to hear him out, but this drives a wedge between himself and Mikey. The conflict between the two friends builds off their established dynamic from the hospital scene and approach to situations. Mikey's cold, unshakable nature opposes Draken's stern, cautious one to a degree that makes them feel like equals in Tomen rather than a leader speaking to a second in command. To Mikey, defying him is defying Tomen, but Draken is simply advising a safer option to all-out war. Mikey's inability to make that distinction is exactly why he needs someone to direct him. His eyes are obscured by hair, while Draken's eyes are clear to see, communicating the emotional versus logical minds at play here. Before reaching a fever pitch, Osanai appears. In contrast to his older self, his boastful, prideful entrance paints a vivid picture of how different he has become, giving credence to how the delinquent life corrupts, setting up the decline such a lifestyle brings into adulthood. It's either crime, death, or dead-end jobs. Truly, the unholy trinity. Following this unexpected interruption, Osanai inflicts a one-sided beating on Pachin, a beating that reflects the one Pa inflicted upon Takemichi. Not only that, he and Takemichi share a similar drive to fight hell and back for what they believe in. A drive that Mikey can't help but admire, smiling as his friend gets beaten. It's only when his friend cannot fight anymore does he step in. Tomen is his only family, and no matter what, he will defend it, even when that family in particular may be in the wrong, because Mikey has basically no one by his side. His brother is gone and he has no other biological family. He's someone who doesn't want to lose anyone else. Albeit a sweet sentiment, it's one that would invalidate his friend's eventual sacrifice. Pa strayed from being just a delinquent, the very thing Draken explained to Osanai. Mikey's reliance on emotion prevents logical thoughts, while Draken's logic shorts his emotional response, something that comes to a head when the two are about to fight. They use fighting as a last resort, instead resorting to throwing things at each other. It takes an angry Takemichi to reaffirm the two's bond, bringing them back down to earth. Draken and Mikey lack perspective in respect to how their actions affect everything around them, the destruction of Takemichi's precious valuables being a prime example. Those valuables represent Tomen's current state, being that when Draken and Mikey are at odds, things begin to break down. All of Tomen looks up to them, so under pressure they have to accept what cannot be changed so everyone can stay together. It's this exact divide that causes Tomen's run-in with a new enemy, Valhalla. Pei is who Mikey was when Paul got arrested. Moments pertaining to Pei and Paul's relationship were few, but Tomen's all for one and one for all mentality bypasses a need to build up their relationship for this betrayal to be effective. If Tomen is a family, then leaving one of their own behind shouldn't be possible. It's that feeling Mikey understands and why he forgives Pei. His and Draken's selfish behavior pushed him to feel like nothing was being done, like no one cared. Mikey's forgiveness is his apology, because this matter was his to take responsibility for. Draken's fall here brings out who Takemichi was meant to be. He doesn't have peerless courage, an iron grip on his sadness, or fight as proficiently as others around him. All he has is an unwavering determination to keep going in spite of all he doesn't have and face any odds, no matter how insurmountable they may seem, that are placed in front of him. All he needs is the people behind him to believe in his ability, even if it means getting stabbed in the hand or getting beaten. So long as they are at his back, he will stand again. Sorry to break for a moment, but I absolutely love this frame in particular. Takemichi and Draken standing battered and bloodied in the rain, ready to die for what they believe in, is just absolute gold. I mean, the only thing I get from this panel is a sense of understanding between two people, and I absolutely love it. Also, Takemichi's shirt reading peace and love while in the middle of war and hate is amazing irony. Okay, that's enough of that. Let's get back to the analysis. Beyond the shadow of a doubt, Takemichi's actions up until this point haven't been meaningless. They've been building up those who have never had the courage to fight for themselves, in turn saving his life. In the same way his guts saved him from Kiyomasa, he receives the same reward now thanks to the intervention of his friends. They all don his determined smile, ready to fight for their lives, in contrast to he and Draken smiling in the face of certain death. It's that constant theme of death that floats throughout these events, which makes it feel so heavy, but also emphasizes the appreciation of life itself during this arc. In the previous arc, fighting for your life in the face of death was present throughout and carries over to this arc. However, it's the softer moments that balance everything out, from Takemichi spending time in the park with his friends to Mikey's relief at Draken's life being saved. Death is just as important as life within this story, a message heavily represented by the Moebius symbol, the Ouroboros. The snake that eats its own tail means eternity and the circle of life, the same thing Takemichi will probably be going through until he's able to save Hina from death. Unfortunately, our time together is short. That's all I have for this week. I'll see you all next time for the Valhalla arc. Until then, please stay safe out there and have yourselves a damn good one. I'll see you guys in the next video.